just get a
until then you have no law.
Yeah.
You have white law.
The point is you do have the right to an assisted death. Right?
Yeah.
That's good. I support that too.
And I'm just saying that under that, not necessarily unwantedness or being underfed, but extenuating circumstances is immunization or whatever you want to call it, not murder or killing. And so I think using the term killing is a misleading term, and that I want to point out that that's a fallacy in the debate.
I feel like
to speak. Sorry, I had my hand up.
Oh, sorry.
To speak to Cordell's point. I like his point because it's saying the legislation doesn't say that I, for example, could go to a doctor and say I want you to help me end my life right now because I'm not suffering from a terminal illness. But under those particular circumstances, it would be allowed.
And it's interesting because reflecting on what we've been talking about this week, where healthy mind equals healthy body, and I've met several people who suffered lives without a healthy mind due to actually the situation specifically. So in my case, or in their cases rather, they've dealt with lives where they aren't able to have a healthy mind. And
they don't have parents, right? Because the dad runs, maybe the pop runs off, but normally it's the dad runs off.
One of my friends was wasn't a rape victim, but was the product of a rape victim, and ended up committing suicide actually because of their deteriorating life in that circumstance. So
that's bad.
Yeah, that's
okay. So this is what I call it killing, because we establish value even to products of bad, terrible situations. So that's why I use the word killing. But maybe I should change it. I don't know. I'll think about that some more.
Yeah, the reason that there's a difference that I would still say with the word killing is you're not allowed to euthanize somebody who's in a bad situation. You euthanize somebody with a terminal illness. None of those are terminal illness.
But we're not at 2 years old.
You're not
you can't kill them for being unwanted anyways.
Yeah.
So I think under the pretenses of the situation is my concern.
Maybe if an earlier development age was selected for the specific, but I think you're right.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Like when you reference
somebody else checking out.
That was Jordan again.
When you reference 2-year-old, I do see. I completely see why you would use the word killing because in that circumstance,
everybody would
exactly,
use it,
And I definitely, that's why I'm interested in this point in reflection over at what point does it make it not killing, right? When put into an earlier situation or stage in development, I wonder if it would be a different word you'd use.
Terminate.
Well, it goes back to even the timeline, like when do we establish value and still use logic, right?
But don't you think circumstances, circumstances like for an unwanted child, like a child to feel unwanted and stuff, like those circumstances of let's say if a person was not broke, just like they just couldn't afford like the lifestyle for themselves.
Of being a parent,
Of being a parent, but compared to like already delivering the child, and then falling into those circumstances, I feel as those are two completely different scenarios. It's first is when the person is there in front of you, compared to the person like I'm not trying to undermine the aspect of a child in you, but in reality, they're still not with you. Like those expenses or that quality of life is not going to change until that person actually comes out. It's like your lifestyle might change into like habits and such, but if you think about it, the unwantedness is not going to come. The expense is not going to come, definitely. And I feel like as those two would be two completely different circumstances.
So let me paint you a picture to
Can I just jump in? That much. I would like to say that, like, when you got somebody who's currently pregnant, you can have senses of, like, although they're not looking the child in the face, there can be definitely senses of unwantedness.
Oh, for sure.
And underfed, and the expense.
Oh, yeah.
Even before they're born, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, even before they're
born. But again, it's much different of the cause and effect, right? You can feel a certain way, but until that baby comes, that baby is not going to feel that type of certain. It's not going to get affected like that until it comes, right? Compared to that feeling comes right after. For example, my friend who's 16, she delivered a baby. Can someone close that door? Sorry. She delivered a baby when she was 15. She delivered a baby when she was 15. She was very excited. I mean, yeah, she's developing a baby boy. It's her. It's very exciting. But now, it's like I can't do anything. Like I'm not good enough to work at anything. I'm not qualified for high school. So that aspect, the aspect of unwantedness and such, are two different scenarios when the baby is inside someone.
Before you're connected to it.
Exactly.
So let me paint you a picture. So Dylan's got kids.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is on his will. So him and his wife get in a car crash. All of a sudden, his kids are on a plane. I call out my mafia buddy, go kill those kids. Right? I don't know them. They're away from me. I'm free from the expense from now on into the future.
Yeah.
Is that right or wrong?
Emotional detachment.
As in,
right. Even though
never
I'm
met
emotional,
children, but you're basically responsible.
First.
So it comes back to who are the unborn, really, because we can't do it to Dylan's kids.
Also,
and like, what is really the rights of all humans?
But they're born. Like the point that I'm making when I say it's arbitrary when we decide when it does or doesn't begin, is because there's other types of life that we don't mind killing, that we don't mind slaughtering, we don't care at all about them. But human life, we're saying, oh, it's very, very valuable. There's nothing like you're saying, intrinsic, but there's nothing really that makes us different than any other mammal. We're choosing to say that human life is important.
Yeah, that's where I would disagree. So I mentioned at the beginning, the reason I'm willing to challenge the status quo is because I'm a Christian. I believe that humans bear the image of God, so they bear the image of their Maker. So that's why I would say that all humans, sixth commandment, thou shalt not murder.
Wait,
so that's why I would be willing to challenge the status quo, but I'm not including that in here because I know that's not your view.
Weren't all animals created by God, if I understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so why does a tiger not bear the image of God? Why does a cow not bear the image of God? But so why do we value humans as the only ones to bear the image of God?
Well, we're assholes. We're egocentric.
No. Like if you actually look at the Bible, it's just what it says. Yeah. So, like, I mean, I'm not telling that because that's what I've done.
No, I just making a rebuttal to that point. I wasn't.
Let's just let Dylan study go first. Yeah.
To go back to your point of why do we give intrinsic value to humans? If you're looking at it from a non-religious standpoint, if you're looking at it from a social or scientific perspective, it's because of connection. We put most value to what is most similar to us, which would be other humans.
So would you just, sorry,
my point was I just want to leave just religion out of it.
No, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm just saying that's why I would disagree.
That's why I can't.
Yeah,
that's like he disagrees.
What are we arguing about? Are we arguing about changing a law, or are we just arguing about?
Well, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm passionate about it, because I want to stop this on like a bigger scale. But if I can stop a couple of you from maybe in the future having a terrible situation, I'm not saying it's not terrible. I would hate to be in that situation, but if I can stop one of you, two of you,
from making a choice, you
from
believe to be
making a bad choice, would I not be a terrible friend to you? To lead you or not stop you from doing a decision that I think is honestly destructive?
I just say that I'm good.
I don't ever have that problem.
No, yeah, that's fine. But even if you're never in that situation, your brother might be in that situation, and you can give some counsel. Maybe you'll remember some of this part of that.
In reply to Dylan's comment about how social values and socialization brings us together, and that's why we value humans most. In nature, it's very common for cannibalism. It's very common for murder of other species. It's very common to death is common.
So, but then are you saying that I can just kill Dylan?
In nature, a tiger will go out and eat another tiger that's smaller than him. So why is it that is scientifically normal, but to say that killing a fetus, for lack of a better term, at the moment, is any worse when we don't find a way to genetically modify a tiger so it doesn't kill itself.
Yeah.
Or its friend.
So
That's a good point.
have we established that abortion is killing a fetus? Is that what we've established? Because from the perspective that, Cordell, you're arguing from, you're saying, okay, maybe it is killing, but killing's okay. That's what seems to be the picture you're painting.
I'm painting the picture that if we're using the term killing, then I'm saying that killing and your own species is very natural in science. If we're not using the term killing, if we're using the term termination, then it brings a whole different meaning and idea to the conversation.
I support that too, just because like killing, in a sense, is like we've all been raised to that fact. As in, we all talk about survival of the fittest. I don't know if you guys support that or not, but we all.
God created the world.
No, but seriously, that might be a serious point. But also, many people do believe that it's survival of the fittest, and if not, then you get killed. It's very common to use the term killing, but if killing is not the right term, then let's put a point of what is the right term, because killing compared to termination.
Well, even if we use termination, it wouldn't change the reality of what's actually going on in abortion. Like, we could change some verbiage on some ink on some paper and some law, but the bottom line is, I don't have any pictures, gruesome, nothing's gruesome on here, but if you were to actually look at them, I have a website on my laptop's back that you can go to. I don't encourage you to do it unless you want to get shocked. But, shocked. Like, sorry, pardon me. Even if we do change the words, like I'll think that over, I'll think it over, rack my brain. But even if we do change it, what difference does it make?
Because killing is more so.
Yeah, but reality of what's happening. Like, we are talking about abortion, not ink on a page.
The moral perception of the term killing has a very large role in the debate. Like, it's like eating.
There's a very big connotation behind killing compared to termination.
Yeah. Like, it would be like saying eating a carrot versus eating a cow. Morally, you're like, I don't feel good killing that cow, but I also I'm also killing that carrot. So, if you look at it as termination versus killing,
terminating the carrot, changing the name doesn't change what you're actually doing to the carrot or the cow.
No, it doesn't. But it changes your moral perception of.
So we're trying to avoid moral perception. We're looking at facts. Is what we're trying to do. So we're trying to take out the terminology. We're just saying what we're all understanding.
Yeah.
Like, killing, we're just meaning the act.
But if we take out morality, is that what we're trying to do?
Morality is
the whole debate is on morality.
It's morality, and
not exclusively morality.
I mean, there's science, but science conflicts.
Yeah,
laws don't even support some of pro-choice or pro-life debates.
Sorry, guys. Let's just make sure we're keeping our hands up.
Yeah. Then what's up?
So again, my point about he's talking about animals kill each other all the time in nature. Again, that goes back to my point that it's sort of arbitrary what we decide is okay and what's not okay. It's us socially together. We're all deciding on something being morally right or morally wrong. We're all deciding that something's intrinsically valued, something's intrinsically not valuable.
Okay, so what if we, as the Nazi Germany, decide that Jews are unintrinsically valued, they're the weaker race, and we can kill them all in gas camps? Is that morally right?
If morals are wishy-washy, morals are what we all agree on. So if everyone agreed on that,
No, you can have basic morals.
No.
Guys, remember hands. Just make sure we.
Love it.
I think I like to disagree, but again, that Michael and I might not share the same morals. We might not have the same ethics in a way, and which is why we might have differing opinions. Because again, pro-choice and pro-life is such on the fact it's so based on around the fact of ethics and morals. Like, I don't know if you guys support that, but.
Right, but even if our morality is different, I wouldn't say that morality is wishy-washy. I would say it's like a line in the sand as best as we can make it
more
from
so
our knowledge.
The basic morals. There's always basic morals. And
people have gone on surveys on the streets and stuff and tested people's morals, and they base it that there's some fundamental that we all agree with. And if you look at the American Constitution or the Canadian, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, life, liberty, and I think the Canadian one says something else, but life, liberty. So
happiness, I think
Yeah, I mean, but the pro-choice says, oh, it's liberty, but like, and then they start contradicting each other. But which one comes first, life or liberty, right? So
it's the same. Sorry,
My point about laws, I'm not saying we all have the same morals, but laws are just, they're impacted by what the majority of us agree is okay, the majority of us is okay, right?
Right. I'm not trying to change the law here.
And I don't want to go into Hitler and Nazi stuff.
Right, yeah, no, okay, so now you're retracting, like, the wishy-washy morality, just...
No, I'm saying, did they think they were acting morally not? The reason that the rest of us think that that's terrible and that's morally not right, so we fought against it.
Right,
but
so...
if everyone in the entire world thought that was morally okay, because morals are just sort of opinions
on your
well, it might not be. Sorry.
I was just going to try and help clarify there. Morals are dependent on your environment that you were raised in.
Hey, Chips. Hey.
So
Here you close the door.
if I was raised in a
Abort the situation of interest.
if I was raised in a situation where I had a loving family, I was fed well, treated well, my morals are going to be reflective of that. But if I was abused, chances are I'm going to end up thinking either abuse is terrible or I'm going to turn around and abuse my family.
Right, that's your view of, or perception of reality as opposed to reality itself. But
right.
we could get sidetracked, but at the bottom line, like, we gotta...
There's another slide.
We should, yeah, I think there's a whole bunch more. I haven't even got through this.
Just a quick point. Going back to the cannibalism in other animals and why we give intrinsic value to ourselves kind of point. And somebody mentioned survival of the fittest. What do you guys say that cannibalism is aiding a species in continuing?
I think that's so survival of the fittest.
That's just what...
Is it eating this?
Cannibalism and killing of your own species helps the species in general survive.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you say it does, or it depends on the circumstances?
It depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
If I'm on a desert island, yeah, I'll eat Peru.
Wow! Whoa! Okay.
Jim's gotta be living.
Would we say that without knowing the individual and that we're all in stable circumstances of survival, that it is our judgment as an animal? So, you're not eating them because they're bad for the rest of the food.
Are they Lay's chips? Or Connor, I don't
Yeah.
know. Chips, one.
Yeah, you'll get 12.
You have an animal, and they're not killing the other animal for the purpose of, like,
Water bottles.
saving the rest of the tribe.
Can I bring your towels
But
inside?
even if they were,
inside already.
like, I wouldn't even argue that that's right.
The reason is we don't know the tribe.
Granny,
We
bring
don't
your
know if
towels
it can be
inside.
beneficial or terrible for society. That's the reason. That's why I'm thinking that
Thank you very
way.
much, Francis.
You'll see what I'm doing. I've done it before. Okay. So we're saying that we would say that that's not beneficial. To kill somebody that's either neutral or beneficial to the herd. The reason we know that is because we're a smarter species. Our advantage in survival of the fittest is our intelligence. It's not our strength, it's not our claws, it's not our teeth. It's our intelligence, yeah?
Yeah, I'd just like to point to that actually is the fact that when we're talking about survival of the fittest in that, or in that sense, I'm talking about how we're a more intelligent species. I totally agree. I think, and it might just be me being an ignorant human, but I agree that humans are a very intelligent species, and possibly the most intelligent on Earth, and in a very large area around us. But I want to just take a point and say that what if there is a species, and that, yes, this is a what if, so you can argue in the sense that that's not reality. Yeah, so what if there was a species who were smarter than us and decided that we were under them in the food chain? What would you feel about them pursuing us and hunting us and feeling that they were in God's image or in a more superior image?
I feel like that's side point to what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Because what I'm getting at is, so what I thought you were about to say is that they were cannibalistic.
Yeah.
And so therefore they have greater values, they're more intelligent, and they think cannibalism is right, and therefore we're in the wrong.
I was just going to say what happens if we're on a lower scale in the food chain. So all of a sudden,
I'd be okay with
I know this is very sidetracked.
Let's try. In the next couple minutes, we'll try to bring it back.
Yeah,
So what I'm getting at is,
yeah. Go ahead.
Can I just make 2 points?
Sorry, I just saw his hand up first. We'll just let him shoot, and then
two things. So first is your argument that like cannibalism's okay if it helps the species advance.
I'm saying let's put that aside.
And that
because we're going to be split on
let
that.
me just finish. And that it's not sorry.
I was just answering your question.
And that it's not okay in situations where that child or well, it's not a child, it's a cannibalism person. If that person killing them if they help the tribe, that's bad. Then, so you're saying that
We're
it's
talking about cannibalism in animals, like not humans.
no, I want to.
I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
So eating something of your own species is okay. Killing something of your own species and eating it is okay if that helps the species advance. So what if there's a situation where the
I wouldn't
mother?
say that.
I did not say that. I was saying, well, putting that to the side because people are controversial on that.
No, why?
Some people say yes, some people say no. I've heard both. But I was saying with one where it's not beneficial.
Yeah.
I'm just answering his question
Yeah.
because he asked me first.
So you're arguing that abortion really doesn't affect anybody either way.
I'm saying we don't know if it's beneficial or not. So if
Okay.
we're going to go with detrimental, we don't know about the impact.
I'm just gonna
Right.
like hear Cornell.
Yeah,
first.
because that's a back and forth that
Actually been.
has continued on and didn't
It's not going
go
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just want to make one clarification. What are general terms for an abortion? Like what are reasons? General reasons, not specific.
Birth control, people use it for birth control.
As in,
Wait, I don't think birth control is abortion.
No,
People use it as
birth
a plan C.
You missed about
You got
7
plan
slides
A,
up here.
you got your plan B, and it's your plan C.
where did you get this?
I made it.
That is the
You
truth.
made it?
Yeah.
So the general reason is they want to prevent the pregnancy.
Continue. That's what abortion
It's
essentially
broken
is.
anyway. Okay. Yeah.
That's
And
Okay,
you
so-
want the reasons for
What are other reasons than just birth control?
yeah.
Okay, they don't want the baby. Okay, that's birth control.
Yeah. Unfed, whatever.
Okay, unwanted, unfed.
Makes a difference.
What about in the cases where it is a detriment to the mother's life, and when it's a detriment to the mother's life for medical reasons, it is also a detriment to the fetus's life.
Right.
So therefore, can we agree that abortion under specific pretenses may be moral because
There's definitely a different debate.
So I think I heard an argument that 1 in 100,000 babies has that situation of that baby in the fallopian tube. There may be other examples where it's like a dangerous or whatever.
Yeah.
But like that's not the reality of our laws in Canada or what people think. Like you came in here this morning and this week thinking pro-choice in almost every scenario. So that's not even the issue at hand. The issue at hand is abortion for convenience. Oh shoot, I don't have enough money. I can't put it up for adoption.
Or else just saying, can we agree on that then?
I want to also then make
Yeah, but that's
a
not
point.
even the issue.
I want to make a
Okay,
point
we
to
just
that.
agree
though.
on that in that
That's the
circumstance.
reason we're saying no.
Our laws reflect the fact that late abortions can only be occurring if there is a medical reason for them to occur, such as
I haven't come across that, but that may be. I've looked into it, so.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but doesn't our law state that people are only allowed to have abortion within a certain?
No, they can have it
Clinics have a tendency to have a frame, but there's no ink on page from Parliament or from anybody. No, you can have a partial birth abortion. They're happening a lot in the States.
You can have it whenever, but I think it's after like 24 weeks. But I'm not certain.
Like
on
in
my
Canada,
terms.
there's no ink on a page like that.
In BC, there for sure is. And
From BC.
Pardon?
You're from BC.
No, I had to research BC before. In my law class, we had enough students to do each province and territory, and we had an abortion.
He's from Renfrew.
You had enough students to do that?
We had like 13 or
We had like 7 in our law class.
Are you gonna pause? I was 2.
So yeah, sorry, stars and wishes.
No, we don't do that. You guys are like good. I wanted to remind you that tomorrow at 7:15, all your stuff should be packed and ready to go. Because I'm coming here at 7:15, then we're gonna all go outside and lock up together.
Okay. Are we gonna do
Give Riley any medication or anything? Advil and your medication. So she's gonna bring that to you when we're here.
Cool.
So between 7:15 and 7:20. And then at 7:30, all of the cabins.
7:15. That's earlier than normal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be up there, and all of our stuff's gonna be in sumac and everything by 7:30.
We're gonna set
Which
alarms
is
for
15 minutes
6:30.
normal than when you 15 minutes earlier than when you normally line up. Okay?
Sweet.
So I'll leave you your chips that you won. Actually, I'm gonna steal
Yeah,
those
thank you,
ones.
Connor.
Okay, you guys continue your
Discussion.
debate thing.
I don't even remember where we were.
So let's try to get back to this.
I'm just gonna step into the other room, guys. Remember to make sure you're.
I'll go back at
Like 2 in the morning?
like 10:28. Turn the lights off.
What time is it?
Yeah, you should never kill each other. Yeah.
10 after.
Oh, God.
18 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Saturday,
often the question that's brought up, and we still have maybe a bit of time tomorrow. Some of you may be on my class.
Oh, let's try to finish it today.
Yeah, but even if you have leftover questions, often the question is, what about the women, or what about the circumstances? Are women not half the unborn population? And we could say unborn, or sorry, women's rights. But what about the unborn women? Like, they are the future.
So by saying women are half of the unborn population, you mean like genetics, or by the fact that they make up approximately 50% of fetuses, which would turn into
Genetics.
like, so
That's the same thing. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, are you saying because a fetus is made from a woman and a man, it's half, or because approximately half will become?
What I meant is population-wise, like numbers, 50%. Therefore, 50. Well, actually, it's even more. So my next point is evidence in Canada is pointing out that, and even across the world, that more women are being aborted than males. So even if my A point isn't powerful enough, in Canada, people from, like, not to discriminate, but China, India, Middle East, like, they're sexist.
But the fact is, sorry.
So we can say, oh, women's rights, but what about the women in the womb, right?
But
So
the thing is, again, it comes down to the fact that, like, it's just hard to say without offending, but, like, in blood terms, they, like, I understand, like, the intrinsic value and everything, but, like, if it does come down to it, they are not in the world yet.
right, but like, what if, like, what difference does it make? Like, where? How does it? Like, back to the sled, like, environment. Like, how does over there change? How does the Apollo astronauts? They're not in the world. Like, you see what I'm trying to say? Like, the question is not your location or your environment or your size or your development or even the circumstances. The question is, who are the unborn, and ultimately, what even is abortion doing to that person?
Okay, I want to make one point here. Second point, evidence is pointing out that there may be more girls being aborted.
I didn't say it does, because I looked at a lot of research and I couldn't say anybody was, like, saying this is how it is.
Oh, I know. I'm not going to say women are being aborted more or anything.
Globally, it's true. You can look at China.
Yeah. I'm pointing it to through gender selective abortions. Before they'll tell you your gender, they'll make you. Generally, they make you sign a waiver that says you won't abort due to gender, and if you wish for
Right, and there's people trying to put stops in place to prevent that from happening. But like, the article, like, talks about, like, the numbers are way off. Like, there's 100 and X for girls or boys or whatever. And they said, how else could this be happening other than them getting around that system?
And for the pro-life side, I think a great point would be, and pro-choice even, would be the fact that there is the option to have gene splicing or genetic modification, which has so far been proven to not harm the fetus in later years, while still you can change their gender before they have grown to something that would affect them, if that makes sense. Before their chromosomes have actually been placed and set,
Actually,
you can change it.
actually,
So I think you're saying having sex change stuff?
actually, sorry,
But
it's
even
actually,
that's
the
still
chromosomes
sexist.
are
I
actually
mean, you shouldn't be able to choose.
The
You
fact
just
is, the sex chromosome, I believe, sets the last because, again, I might be wrong, just because Just because the fact is we have it because we were females in the thing. So what gender modification is through vertical fertilization. What happens is that they take DNA out. It's in a sense you are taking DNA out. You are playing with the DNA, growing it up. You're growing it in a test tube, inserting it back, and then continue for it to grow back. That's what gender modification is.
And that's still sexist. Like, I wouldn't even, I haven't looked into that, but I wouldn't agree with that. You should just have it population roughly 50-50. I think genetically, I think it's actually more. I think it's 105. Whatever that absolute was. Anyways, and it just means that more. I think sex doesn't change it. This ratio. Anyways, moving on. Then we've sort of been over this already, but let me just read this. If a fetus will be challenged mentally or physically, so like Down syndrome, handicap, whatever, does treating that fetus differently not reconcile the different treatment of adult people who are challenged mentally, physically? So we've kind of established that, I've tried to establish, that fetuses are humans. So if we treat them differently, they're going to have a bad life because they have a cripple. Like, why can't we survive the fetus, just go to the hospital and start killing people? They're going to have a bad life, right? So does that not, if we do it for unborn, should we not do it for the old-born or after-born? And does treating the sick... So does treating or picking and choosing the babies you like, health or whatever, is picking and choosing the ones you like, or eugenics essentially, in the womb, does that not make it right outside of the womb to pick and choose the human beings that you like, just like Hitler did? And so that's my next point. And does treating the sick and helpless differently not undermine the West opposing the Jewish genocide, that being that the Jews were weaker and sicker and blah 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 blah, and they went through handicaps, they gassed the black people, whatever.
Okay. We also have the right to we have the right to remain silent. So let's all shut up and that's we have the right to live We have the right to live a fulfilling, healthy, happy life. And so if their challenges, sickness, physical or mental disability that will occur were to deteriorate their ability to live from a young age, from birth, would that not be fair to say that? Well, I may agree that they deserve the right to live. Where does the line get drawn between? Okay, if we're going to use human rights as an example, they deserve the right to a healthy, happy, fulfilling life.
They deserve the right to end their life. Is that what you're saying? This becomes a euthanasia debate now.
Well, I'm saying they deserve a right that they would be that would be essentially removed from them by being birthed, because they wouldn't have the ability to live that fulfilling life right from them.
So I wouldn't say that living a healthy, happy life is a right, because on a bad day when it's raining, do you just I'm not getting my right to a good life. Like, mommy, fix my life. Give me Cocoa Puffs. Being happy isn't a right; it's a privilege. Being fed is
I'd just like to speak to the sad thing. That actually ends up sort of like if we're talking about the right to kill yourself and the put into bad circumstances or like a rainy day, like you said. It's sort of it brings us to the point that we need to understand mental illnesses, right? And in the sense that depression is a serious problem, and that depression is something that definitely drives toward taking your own life. And depression is something that we need to make sure is addressed in the sense that like, of course, it's not illegal to take your own life. You just can't really fucking do anything about it, right? Like, you're not gonna say, well, charging him.
You can't be charged. It's an unchargeable legal offense. But it's
Yeah, but there's nothing to stop you from doing it in the sense that, like, other than support programs and stuff like that, right? But in the sense that we do have a right to take our own life. In religion, there's certainly, I actually, that's one of the big things I respect about religion is that there are rules against that kind of thing. And I have dealt with people who have dealt with depression. I have dealt with mental illnesses myself. And I know that it's
and everybody will come across bad days, like rainy days in their life or rainy years. Like, that's real life.
Well, we got to make sure we're not comparing like rainy days to a mental illness.
Again,
right, and I just say rainy years, like real bad. Like, it's just the word.
Sorry, but again, your sense of the sense of a good, positive mindset can also be determined by the quality of life, right?
Real small country.
Doc?
Sorry?
Right. So what I was
saying,
what I was saying was the quality of life can also be like the state of mind, or depression can also be like the cause of depression can be contributed by the quality of life. Coming back to your point of like if we can kill the people who are not born, why don't we kill the people who are already born? The fact is that some people are just talking about the fact that quality of life, like
they're saying
like depression, mental, like there's so many factors right on the aspect of the quality of life. For me, for example, someone who was born with a terminal illness, like they have like 3 days to it's a hyperbole, but like 3 days to live, and they were gone the right moment they came out. And you found out about that and let's say I found out about that with my partner, with my wife, in that sense, that my baby will have 3 days to live, that you cannot cause. I mean, I don't think I quite would. I'd say that it's much easier
to have an ungrieved death as opposed to a grieved death.
Yes, because
so that's what I grieve abortion. That's why I'm doing this. And do other things. That's why it's on my lap.
Oh, okay.
So that's my point.
So you grieve.
Yeah, I would treat it absolutely the same. It makes no difference to me. When do they die?
Really?
Absolutely.
Actually, it's almost like you didn't give them a chance to feel life.
Yeah.
Although,
and by not grieving them, you're like, oh, I don't care about you.
But
even if they left 3 days.
Are you sure I don't care is the right term? Are you sure that's the right term?
Well, if you don't grieve it, what other words could I
Guys, remember, right? Ben has something to add.
It's a bit off, but I think there should be different standards when a child's in the womb versus when it's outside. Like if let's say that I had complete control over a toddler, that were solely my responsibility. I was in charge of watching them for a certain period of time, and then under my watch, maybe I didn't accidentally, but something occurred and they ended up dying unintentionally for me. Then let's say the mother's pregnant and something happens, she gets in a car crash or she drinks or something, and that leads to a miscarriage. If it was in real life, and it was a toddler, I'd be charged with negligence, or I'd be charged with, if I did anything that led to its death, even if it was unintentional, I'd be charged with the crime. But in pregnancy, if I drank or if let's say I fell or something and that ended up causing a miscarriage, I wouldn't want them to be held responsible in that situation.
Right, and so I don't even agree with the current laws. So maybe it's an argument for others, but it means nothing to me. Because, whatever.
Last summer, my grandma and my great-grandpa died within the same week. So, lots of travel, but I didn't grieve. I love both of them very much, but they fought long, hard-fought battles with cancer, with different diseases that occurred since cancer deteriorated their immune system. So maybe I grieved their death before
their absence,
died.
not their death. Is
No, I didn't grieve their absence. Maybe that's the term. But like,
You grieve their death before they die.
yeah, I grieved their death before they died. Maybe like I knew they were going to die when I found out that they were getting cancer. It was like, shit, that sucks. But I mean, they also had the chance to live a fulfilling life without knowing that their death was predetermined within a set amount of time. Like they were happy, they were healthy in a set amount of time. And when it comes to terminal illnesses at birth, I question the morality, I guess, of saying we have to birth you even though we know you're going to die. Like, the quality of life is so bad, let's say his hyperbole of 3 days, that is it worth it to put them through hell just so that you knew you birthed the fetus?
So the argument I think is like knowing the day you're gonna die makes it tough, right? On life.
Yeah.
So how do you know that I don't know that in my own life? You don't. How do you know I don't have a terminal illness? You don't.
You don't.
So how is that relevant to the issue of abortion?
But the thing is,
if you know that there's a terminal illness, though, then you know that there's a predetermined time. Generally, it's a very uncommon situation that they pass through a terminal illness. And so if you know...
Yeah, I did.
If you want back to the point.
sorry, and on top of that, I feel like, oh shoot, I forgot what I was going to say, but again, coming to the point of grieving, I wouldn't say that like abortion is grief-less. I mean, there's many families when they have to abort, when they have to.
It's a hard choice.
Oh, it's a horrible choice. It's a choice that they like. There's been documentaries stating that like people can go into the room that they decorated for their child, like it's completely closed, and that topic will, if it's brought up again, it will break away.
They feel like guilt almost.
Yeah, the fact is that it's not even guilt. Like after, like, let's say partial death by any chance, that takes place.
Partial birth.
Pardon?
Partial birth or
Partial death, or whatever. The first way to for abortion. Partial birth,
I think.
Yeah, partial
halfway
birth.
through the birth.
Yeah. So even if that grief is always there, in the sense of they didn't get a chance to live, you still have to understand by science, babies will not start to remember experiences till they are older than I believe 4 or 5.
So then do they become valuable at 4 or 5?
I'm not saying the value increases or something, but the fact is that if you already know a predetermined sense of you have like that baby's gonna have a lot of trouble. The fact is that the baby might not feel something, but it's just
It's hard on the parents.
Because that itself is the biggest variable in having a sense of a well-being, a positive state of mind. And if a parent still has to do that is so hard. For my sake, I was hospitalized for 2 weeks. I might have not felt it because I sure as hell still don't care. But my parents are worried sick every
More than you were, right?
Oh, for sure. They got like I've seen my mom cry first time, and that was the only time when I was in the hospital. But the fact is that I still didn't care. And the fact is, I would have wanted my mom, like if she knew, let's say if I had terminal illness, I wouldn't want to put my parents through that pain. I wouldn't want them to have that negative state of mind. Like I wouldn't want them to blame themselves, because in today's generation, there's so many people who blame themselves for their children, their actions. There's many conversations of, oh, my son killed, it's my fault that how I react. So the fact of like, if I know because of predetermined, like so many technological advances, I don't think I would be. I think I would be for pro-choice in that sense of mind. But again, if like I really appreciate your point, because like you brought very good points. So again, it's the fact of like I think it's a discussion of like, was the hen or the egg brought it first, right? So like you can't really debate both of them because here I don't think the main purpose is to change someone's mind. It's just debate a friendly topic.
So definitely, like knowing death, going through death, and then watching your family suffer while you, let's say I'm sick or something.
Yeah.
Watching that's hard, but
Craig's still doing that? Yes.
it's hard. So what? Right? Like that would be my kind of cutthroat response to that. I mean, it's tough.
It is.
Right?
No, it's a throwback.
Okay, so
Yeah, go
that's
on.
So you were saying that you didn't agree with the current laws in terms of in terms of an unintentional miscarriage. You're saying, I don't agree with those laws. That argument doesn't carry weight. Well, if that's true, then
Just make sure you guys are quieter in 3 minutes.
if that's true, then when a miscarriage does happen, and they do happen, unintentionally, would you support them being consequent?
Should we be
Yeah.
so that we're quiet?
Who wants to move into the bedroom area? Do you mind?
Yeah, let's do it.
This?
Kudos to us for not yelling at each other or
Throwing stuff at each other.
murdering.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Retro, that's to you.
What's up?
No murder.
Oh, so good job to everyone for having a civil conversation despite disagreement.
So I think I actually have 2 more slides.
I'm still doing good.
Yeah, no, I'm probably going to be up for a while.
Abortion is one of the few topics that I'm actually willing to civilly debate because I believe in difference in opinions and difference in morals in this sense, and I do respect your opinion even if I disagree with it and argue it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Wait, what did he say? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
He respects. I didn't get all of it, but he respects my opinion.
Oh, I do too. Like
Yeah.
100%. I love the points that you're bringing, but again, I just think it's just difference in opinions. Yeah.
And then just my last slide is like, why should we care? Is one of the biggest reasons we should care is we were once an unborn child.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we wouldn't be here if our parents weren't pro-life.
Yeah. Well.
No, like there's no buts. Yes.
No. My parents are pro-choice, actually.
No. When we were in the fetus, if they didn't value us,
They value circumstance. They're circumstantial pro-choice.
I support pro-choice with reasonable circumstance.
Yeah.
Again, just to clarify my stance, I only support pro-choice with a viable circumstance.
Or
Like
excuse.
I'm gonna find it very offensive that you are terminating someone just because the heck of it.
it's inconvenience or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like no, deal with it. Like it's
Or
your fuck up.
adoption. Like I know so many people from my church that have no kids, they just weren't capable or married too late or whatever, that would have loved to adopt a lot of babies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of children in both Canada and in other countries ready to be adopted. I don't think adoption is necessarily the perfect solution, and I just want to point out that in a case such as rape, generally adopted children find out about their family history once they often find out they're adopted, and then they're curious. If you found out that you were your father was a rapist, how would you feel? And you were the reason that
I don't think like putting someone in that circumstance is viable.
I want to make
Whatever.
the
It's
point,
hypothetical. Go on.
that, okay, so if your parents didn't value enough to keep you, why hand you off when there's 20,000 other people who are being ready to be born? Like death versus.
We could keep up the conversation just like last night.
So
remember tomorrow's the big day.
if I knew my real biological father, yeah, what's good?
Tomorrow's the big day. So if you need sleep, get sleep.
So
You
like,
need it.
when's our curfew? Like 2 in the morning?
I mean, sleep whenever you feel like you want to sleep. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
so yeah, go to sleep.
I'm not gonna dick about it.
So, and, yeah, no.
Like I'm on my last slide.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
but so I'm just telling you guys what's happening.
Yeah.
So try, if you can, wake up early because packing and cleaning, it's always longer than you think.
Anyone want to switch their alarms right now to 6:30?
Yeah, I put it down on
Mine's set to
6:20.
So you want to maximize your day tomorrow because tomorrow's the big day, and
right.
just get your things prepared, and then just have a good night.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Francis. Thanks for letting us do this, by the way.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And also silent clap. You can't even see it.
But Cordell, to get to your point, if I knew my biological father didn't love me, but my biological mother loved me enough to keep me and to send me to an adoption clinic, that would mean a lot to me, because that would make me even more pro-life than I am right now. Because, right, like,
Okay.
it would definitely, like, rattle me, like, whoa, I'm not my actual parents' child, I'm adopted? Whoa, I didn't know that.
And, I mean, I've never...
But I'm alive, right? Like, here I am.
Right. And, I mean, this is pretend situation.
Right,
so,
yes,
so
I get it.
In my opinion, what I would do would be like, wow, I was, my father is a rapist.
Yeah.
Generally, qualities like that, generally, they follow through.
Like, you mean like hereditary?
Yeah.
That's
like,
perhaps, I haven't looked into that, but...
I'm not saying that.
But even that's actually biblical. Like, you're actually wiser than you know. The sins of the father passed on to the child.
Yeah. So it's not always the case.
Right.
I would fear that even though I'm in control of myself and I never knew my father was a rapist, I would suddenly fear to the point where I might actually consider taking my own life. That I would become a rapist and I would follow the tradition of having a Greek baby onto my offspring, and I would rather end it there and not have to worry about it. So that fear than to.
So you don't want to have the fear of really doing something wrong, right?
Like essentially, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's also biblical, right? Because like, if you don't want sin and you don't want evil, instead of killing yourself, you should run to Christ. Because Christ also he says he liberates people from, they were slaves to the law, they were slaves to sin, and then he liberated them and then became servants of Christ, God. So that's what I would recommend you do in that situation. No, that's hypothetical, but so that's what I would recommend. And I don't think suicide in that situation is all that common, but it's potential. It's awful. I'm not saying it's not, but
like I'm not a believer. I just.
Right, and I just say that, hey, like, you might want to look into that.
And in that case, I might be desperate enough. In that case, I might be desperate enough that I would consider believing as a
Christian.
second last resort, being the last resort being suicide, I suppose. But it's all. I think it's all circumstantial, like. It's hard to.
It's really hard to determine like a fine line of when pro-choice is acceptable, whereas pro-life is acceptable too.
And I think one of the guys brought up life of the mother, and like I would seriously consider take a call, whatever.
No, I was bringing up notes that I had made. I just wanted to remember the questions.
I think somebody brought up life of the mother, but like in that case, like if I'm pro-life and two people die and we know they're going to die, that doesn't make sense. I don't know, like I haven't really thought about it, but some of the pro-life resources I got this stuff from, they say if it's like baby stuck in the fallopian tube, have an abortion, grieve the abortion, say it's wrong, say it's doing exactly what it is, it's evil, but it's the lesser of two evils. So that would be the pro-life scenario, or pro-life situation. From what, like, I don't know, I should actually talk to people at my church to see what they say.
Yes, we're terrorists.
I don't know what their views on that would be.
There's a teacher right in front of you.
You just walk past you. Maybe I should get into Dylan's likes.
Of course, I don't want anything white. Okay?
Put AIDS in there.
But I do agree with that, but not necessarily like lesser of the two. I wouldn't say evil, but I'd say lesser of the two wrong. Like, the lesser of the two bad.
Yeah, and like I would just say what it is, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then like just
Again, just different opinions.
so just a stat here, which kind of racked my brain, guys. You may find this interesting. 31% of pregnancies in Canada are ended in abortion. The beaches of Normandy, I looked it up, checked my stats. You were more likely to live on the beaches in Normandy. What are the ports like Juneau, Omaha, Normandy? Like I looked into some of that stuff, and there were like 15% death rates, not 31. So there is a problem. I think we can agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I would encourage you to just start discussion too. Like you don't have to become like a crazy presentation flinging pro-lifer, but like pull your friends, like see what like their situation are. Try to convince them to save lives. Babies are awesome. Like I want to have kids.
Yeah, I want to
right?
have kids too. But
Yeah.
Like I've said this 10,000 times. So I'm pro-life. I believe that unless circumstances such as medical reasons or quality of life was determined to be deteriorated, I wouldn't. Any other reason, I wouldn't give a shit.
You personally wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
that's
I also, my it turns back to morals, and well, I may not do it.
But the next person.
Yeah, the next person might end.
And you wouldn't hold them to your standard?
I wouldn't hold them to my standard because my standard isn't a universal standard.
But then again,
I have views that differ from everyone else, and I don't expect everyone to follow my views.
Yeah, let me, before you go, Harup, let's say there have been Christians in this situation that got pregnant in high school, whatever, and they're having abortions, and they're pro-life. So what the heck? And so what I would encourage, and this is what I would do, because I know my parents would have done this. If I were stupid enough to say get someone pregnant, if it came up and I said to my dad, Dad, I gotta get an abortion, I gotta go to school, I gotta blah 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 blah. I'm panicking, right? I'm terrified, right?
Yeah.
He would have said no. I'm gonna make you do what's right for you and right for everybody, and I'm gonna make you do what's best. And that's the power of rules. That's why. Obviously, none of us are politicians, but that's why I would encourage politicians, if I ever get a chance, to put something like this in. Make people do the right thing. That's good for them and their baby.
But
so,
again,
go on.
Sorry, just to come back to your point, as in judging, but I don't know if that's the right term or sense, but
accountability.
Yeah. Again, I don't think anyone would have the right to judge anyone if they were pro-life or pro-choice in that sense. Guys, just. I don't think anyone would have the right to judge anyone just because everyone's morals are different. Everyone's standards of pro-choice or pro-life are different.
I think on a lot of things, people's standards, but on something so important as life, I think I would have no problem setting a standard for everybody. That would be my view.
I think it's hard.
I mean, I don't have all the answers, but...
Yeah.
It comes back to a carrot is alive, but yet today, or a bean is alive, but yet today at supper, I'm pretty sure you ate beans. Yeah. I know that sounds really stupid.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
But if it comes down to it, it's still the same.
It's not the same in those terms, because killing it versus killing something that you know is living and you know what it became is different than...
You said that?
Yeah. Is different than taking the life of a fetus, but I guess my main question is, how do we define a human?
And ultimately, I think I went into some of that, but yeah, that was why I said, who are the unborn? Are they human? You're right. We've come back to the fundamental question: who are human?
Yeah.
And so I tried to go through some of the things, pointing out. I don't know if you remember them all.
Yeah, you showed us pictures and how you compared your hand to its hand. And
yeah.
Okay, but a hand doesn't necessarily make you human. Apes have.
Right, and I get that, but there's only so many differences differences between the fetus or tissue or whatever and us humans. So are those differences changing our fundamental rights?
I don't think fundamental rights would be the right term. Sorry.
Okay, do they change how we should be willing or able to treat those fetuses or whatever? If the differences between me and little fetus Jimmy are so insignificant on the grand terms of morality, should any of those differences justify like injecting them or whatever word we want to use? Whatever word we use, it doesn't change anything. But like what's happening? But
like, I mean, those are common definitions of
the differences.
Adult human, but like, how do you define a generic human? Like, is it the ability to think? Is it the ability? Is it when it has a heartbeat? Is it like when when it has the ability to adapt memory? Like when is
a human?
A human, I guess.
Or a human person. Is that what you're arguing?
Not arguing, just
or putting up
like when is it? Does it go from, I guess, human tissue to a physical person?
Right. So the issue of personhood, or that, I think I'm getting what you're saying is, we didn't have memory while we were sleeping, but yet we still had those fundamental privileges, rights, whatever you want to call them, of being a human. While if you got drunk, you don't remember it. You weren't cognizant. You weren't remembering anything. But yet you were, for all intents and purposes, you were just as a vegetable, or you were just, but you had the fundamental rights of a human. Right? And you're sleeping in a car or whatever. Or you're in surgery, like you're knocked out. Can the doctor you're taking up space in the hospital? Like, you have fundamental rights.
Sorry, I think it just again comes back to that fundamental question of what is the difference between a fetus and a human, and when do...
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's why I have these two slides.
Intrinsic. Was it the word intrinsic?
Intrinsic, or rights, or whatever you want to
so, and back to the fundamental question of what is a fetus and a human, and the fact is, when do they get their intrinsic value? Just because, I mean, again, fetuses compared to humans are, for me, much different.
Yeah, but, like, we've just gone over two of my biggest slides.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to think it over. Like, we can go on forever, because we can go back and forth.
Yeah.
But
what was the last point you made just before this? I forget.
The 31%.
No, like, we were just talking about it on this slide. I forget what... I had a question about that, though.
Oh, personhood?
Oh, yeah.
Surgery.
Vegetable state.
Or vegetable, or your vegetable state, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or drunk state, whatever.
Yeah, I got drunk. But I still had the tissue and the physical ability to allow me to have memories, whereas a fetus at a given time doesn't, at a specific time, it eventually develops these tissues.
Because you're going to recover from your drunkenness or whatever, or your surgery or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that why you're retaining those rights?
Yeah, to some extent. Like, they don't have the tissues to create memories, to create emotions, to create anything that we define as human characteristics. Like, I mean, a social character, morals, for example. We've debated morals this whole time, but a fetus doesn't have morals. They can't even think straight. Like,
I've never been drunk, so I can't add a comment.
Yeah, like
I am, and it's fucking ridiculous.
Doc's just chirping it. Nope. Stop right now.
Drinking age and puking drunk.
Yeah, I've been smashed drunk.
My brother drinks a lot. He's never been puking drunk in his day.
Yeah, but I was puking drunk with 6 Belgian beers. Belgian beers are like 5%, 8% alcohol.
I'm not.
But Doc,
I have no idea.
Doc, I still love you, brother.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I have no idea what you guys are, and I just want to comment to Michael.
Yeah.
Sorry. In your presentations, one sentence I've used because you like punchy sentences to help to prove a point is this is what I've heard of. It's pretty factual. It's not perfectly exact. It's not perfectly exact.
Hey, don't criticize. That's my favorite resource.
In the time it takes me to say this sentence, an American baby was aborted. That's the fact. In the time it takes me to say the sentence, an American baby was aborted.
Every what's the statistic?
There's 300 abortions in Canada a day.
What's the statistic? Like every 5 seconds someone is born and every 3 seconds someone dies. So by the time I said this sentence, 2 people died, but 2 people were born.
3. By the time I said this sentence, you're already on the ground.
By the time I said this sentence, somebody died naturally, somebody was aborted, and somebody was born. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Yeah. So I mean,
2 to 1.
When you look at it, though.
I mean, if you really think,
I don't support genocide, but I support population control because.
So what was it, Dylan? 1 baby was aborted?
Yeah, it's like 1 baby was aborted every blank seconds, and it might be global now that
I think it's more so.
And so you can phrase it as.
Yeah, and I'll look it up.
Again, as Cordy.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. That's great.
Population growth. I mean,
you can obviously use.
I mean, it's just abortion would. Again, I don't think I should say this, but it contributes to population growth or population control.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with using it just as population control.
Yeah,
I believe
it just contributes.
Yeah, I believe that in reality we do need population control, and we also need control over stuff like mental health and wellness and.
Yeah, totally agree.
And by just if you're unloved and unwanted and such, it just brings that position, not necessarily lower quality of life. It just brings you in a position where you're, I guess, between a rock and a hard spot.
Yeah, no, I'm not in this situation. Like, that would be awful. I agree.
But it's a.
I'm not sure. Did you not see it?
It's a circumstantial, I guess, debate. Like it all.
It was very good, though. This was very good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Like, I liked your presentation. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
It was well put together and really good resources.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks CCBR for that, and the guy named. No.
Gigi isn't Gigi like an NSAC member?
Yeah.
I said GG well played as in like GG well done.
No, you meant Gigi as in the NSAC member.
Yeah, you caught me.
Is she pro-life too?
Thanks to her mom.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. It was fun.
No, this was actually very informative.
Yeah, for sure. We gotta have this ball. Yeah, man.
I mean, we're okay.
Michael, get in, man. Get in.
Michael, did you think about it?
I don't think we told my killer.
Michael, if you think about it, us 3 again are going to be on the actual financial and living stuff.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, like Doc and I are getting close, and we're going to be
so long as abortion is not part of our life literacy policy,
we're fine.
Can we all agree on that?
Yep, it's not.
Abortion cannot be part of our life literacy.
Well, maybe a little bit of pro-life. I'll try to sneak it in. Trust me.
You abort babies, life literacy will be you out of the fire.
No, keep it in life literacy, but only for the Catholic.
I'm sure you just toss me into like a math question. If you abort 3 babies every 7 days, how many babies do you abort in a year?
No, again, if you abort 7 babies every 6 months, how many people will you take your babies? No, about 2 in every 7 cabins.
Are we playing cards? I think I heard.
I'm down.
I think do literally anything with my knife. Forget who's planning on going to bed now. Not late now, but
Like you'd rather do anything but cards.
No, I'm willing to do cards. I'm like, I just want to know who's off, and if it's only cards, like you going to bed, Michael? Ben?
Yeah. Well, I'm just supposed to use it.
Oh, did someone take bring
I would be playing cards. I brought in my towel. That was my towel.
Okay.
Like if we want to be truthful. Don't
with your questions to the minister, Michael?
No, I don't even have a question. If I can add some sort of smart aleck comment, I might. I'm gonna question
why there's not more funding for advertisement.